The movie starts at BlackRock Labs, where they are presenting a secret project to a major client. The project is about the security of a global science and technology conference, and they've developed a robotic suit called Power, which is controlled by a trained operator. After the presentation, the inventor, Dr. Cohn, declares that Power is ready and has passed all the tests. A man questions the reliability of the operator, but Amy, Dr. Cohn's assistant, reassures him that their advanced VR system can help find the best operators. Convinced, the man strikes a deal with them. Later, Dr. Cohn and Amy discuss the immense power stored in a small device, referring to Power's data storage. Cohn thinks Power is like a double-edged sword and must not fall into the wrong hands. The scene shifts to armed men led by Captain Long-Wei escorting a VIP from a hotel. They stop at an elevator, and a man who looks like a waiter walks by. Long-Wei doesn't pay him much attention, but suddenly the waiter shoots one of his men and throws bombs at the rest, causing a massive explosion. Long-Wei and the remaining men regroup, but masked enemies start shooting at them. Long-Wei and some of his men manage to escape through the stairs, but the masked enemies follow. Long-Wei fights back and kills some of them. When they reach the floor, Long-Wei tries to lead the people into the building away from the shootout, but he is confronted by a tattooed assassin, and others wait to kill him and the VIP. Long-Wei fights them off and reaches the exit, but their only escape is to jump to a nearby roof. The VIP hesitates, but Long-Wei insists that they must hurry. He pushes the VIP onto the other roof and jumps after him, and the enemies arrive and start shooting, hitting both of them. The VIP almost falls off the roof, but Long-Wei saves him. A helicopter arrives and shoots at the enemies, killing them, and Long-Wei and the VIP are then safely escorted to the ground. A few days later, Long-Wei is seen playing with his daughter, bandaged from his injuries and with a broken arm. His wife joins them and tells them that she's ordered a cake. When the doorbell rings and the wife opens the door, she's surprised to see one of the tattooed assassins. Back at home, Long-Wei notices an eerie silence and turns toward the door. His wife appears scared, holding a bomb instead of a cake. Seeing the timer on it, she locks herself inside the bathroom. Their daughter rushes to the door, pleading for her mom to come out, and Long-Wei watches helplessly. Suddenly, the bomb explodes, killing his wife and setting the room ablaze. The scene then moves forward, showing Long-Wei driving in a run-down neighborhood. His hair has grown, and he seems downcast compared to before. He lives in a shabby place and runs a repair shop, bringing home canned food, but his daughter, now disabled and suffering health complications from the fire, dislikes their lives. One night, the doctor informs Long-Wei that his daughter Fang Fang's latest test results are worrying, and her brain still shows a blood clot. The doctor suggests surgery, and Long-Wei promises to arrange the money as soon as possible. One day, Long-Wei is called to a club for work. At the same place, Amy, the doctor's assistant, is partying with her colleagues. She goes to the bathroom, but a creepy guy follows her. She tries to fight him off, but he assaults her. Long-Wei, washing his hands on the other side of the bathroom, hears Amy's screams and rushes in. He grabs the man, who pulls out a knife, but Long-Wei fights him off and saves Amy. The fight spills into the bar, where the man's friends join in, and Long-Wei fights all of them, leaving them injured. Amy watches silently. After the fight, Long-Wei breaks down due to his PTSD and vomits at the back of the bar. He takes some medication and tries to calm himself down. The next day, he comes home from work to find his door broken. He rushes in to check on Fang Fang, but finds her playing with Amy. Feeling ashamed of his appearance, Long-Wei politely declines Amy's offer of a job at BlackRock. But she leaves her business card anyway. As she is about to leave, they hear Fang Fang fall in her room. They rush in to find her unconscious. Amy performs CPR while Long-Wei looks for an adrenaline shot. Amy injects the shot, and Fang Fang wakes up, much to their relief. Long-Wei thanks Amy for her help. The next day at work, Long-Wei gets a call from the hospital informing him that Fang Fang's surgery bills have been paid. He realizes that BlackRock has paid the bills. That night, he has a flashback of his late wife giving him a bracelet symbolizing their family. In the present, Long-Wei takes out the bracelet and gains courage. He decides to take the job at BlackRock. That night, he shaves his long hair and beard, sees his old self in the mirror, kisses Fang Fang goodnight, and drives toward the company. In the next scene, Amy is at the company discussing technical matters when she spots Long-Wei in the hallway. She is pleasantly surprised that he accepted the job, and he thanks her for paying the hospital bills. Later, we see Long-Wei with other candidates in a room taking a VR test before being hired. Amy explains that the tests are randomly assigned and that the VR system is very realistic. The candidates put on the necessary gear and goggles, and the test starts. Long Wei is immersed in a bright light, screaming from the stress on his brain from the VR. He is quickly transported into a game world, appearing in the sky. He sees several containers, and it feels like a game. Enemies appear out of nowhere, and Long Wei begins to defend himself, moving as he pleases. He's a skilled fighter, and the advanced technology enhances his fighting abilities as he fights off numerous threats by shooting and bombing them. When he completes his mission, he finds a woman covered in black sheets and tied to a chair as a hostage. He removes the cover and finds his wife begging for help. Long Wei screams as his PTSD is triggered, and at the same time, the system glitches. Long Wei removes all the wires attached to him. He crawls, takes his medicine, and tries to calm down. He screams and wants to leave the facility and quit the test, but suddenly the place is raided by armed men, and the room they are in explodes due to a bomb. Chaos breaks out as the terrorist group starts shooting at everyone who survived. Meanwhile, Long Wei manages to hide and goes unnoticed by the raiders. However, he is hit by a stray bullet and tries to stop the bleeding. He applies alcohol and cotton to the wound and ties it with a towel. He then rushes to see what has happened to the others. Meanwhile, the terrorist group has killed every doctor in the hallway, and Long Wei is traumatized to see dozens of dead bodies in his wake. It reminds him of the counter in the hotel room at the beginning of the movie. He grabs a gun from one of them and heads to the security room that he just found. On the screen, he sees the group holding a bunch of doctors, including Amy, hostage. It turns out that the terrorist group is here to take the source code of the weapon power. In the control room, the leader and his accomplice Steven are keeping the people hostage. He asks Dr. Cohn for the core data on power, but the doctor refuses to give it to him. The leader threatens to kill the hostages and even shoot some of them. When he threatens to kill another, the doctor reluctantly agrees and gives him the code. Meanwhile, Long Wei is noticed by one of the men, and he successfully distracts and takes the weapon from him. However, their captain hears the shooting and asks for a response from his men. Long Wei has everything under control. Meanwhile, Dr. Cohn uses the captain's distraction as a means to initiate the destruction of the power data source code. She believes this is better than putting the weapon in the hands of a terrorist group. The captain realizes this and brutally kills the doctor. Amy is terrified by what she saw, but things get worse as the captain starts to abuse the hostages to fix the problem. Having no choice, she volunteers to revert the destruction process in exchange for the hostages' freedom. The man accepts the deal and gives her the stage. At the same time, Long Wei triggers the alarm next to him, causing the siren to go off. The captain orders Steven to check it out and see if anyone is alive. Meanwhile, Long Wei is changed into the suit of the man he just killed. He now looks identical to the terrorists, and they don't even notice him as he finds and kills many of them. He's a skilled gunman and fighter, and they cannot keep up. Soon, Steven realizes the fugitive is wearing their suit and informs the captain. Long Wei hears their conversation on the walkie-talkie, but does not alert them to his presence. Later on, we see Steven and his men in the corridors, and a fight ensues between them. Long Wei kills the two men successfully, leaving Steven for a further brutal fight. Long Wei fights back as much as he can and finally forces Steven into the elevator, revealing the enemy's weak side. Steven uses a knife in the fight, but Long Wei is too smart and knows how to defend himself. However, Long Wei doesn't kill Steven and leaves him unconscious as he exits the elevator. Elsewhere, Amy has copied the source code of power onto a hard disk and given it to the captain, but he declares he was lying when he took the deal and takes the hard disk, ready to kill all the witnesses. He orders one of the men to take Amy. Meanwhile, Long Wei alerts the captain to his presence and offers another deal, an exchange of a hostage for a hostage. The captain is no longer smiling when he hears Steven's voice on the other end. He invites Long Wei to come forward and exchange hostages, and Long Wei accepts. Before he goes, he puts a bomb in his jacket and covers Steven's mouth with plaster. He shortly arrives and makes his entrance to the control room. But to Long Wei's surprise, the captain shoots Steven himself, revealing he was just using him. An open fire ensues between the captain and Long Wei. Thanks to his past skills, Long Wei manages to take the captain in his arms and point the gun at him. This causes the rest of the men to stand down. Long Wei tells Amy to take the hostages with her, and she quickly does so. Meanwhile, the captain manages to escape Long Wei's grasp and starts to defend himself. His men immediately start shooting at long range, but Long Wei kills all of them. Afterwards, He hides using a dead body as a shield and activates the bomb in his jacket, causing the place to explode. In the aftermath, the place looks dusty and destroyed, but Longwy has survived miraculously, which will be revealed in the future. He stands up and follows the trail of blood left by the hostages, leading him to a dark tunnel chamber. As he jumps, he accidentally drops his medicine, which he doesn't notice. After a brief walk, he encounters the captain with a scared face, pointing a gun at Amy. Realizing he has no choice, Longwy stands down. The captain smiles, shoots, and throws Amy. When Longwy tries to approach, the captain shoots him too and walks toward him to finish the job. Meanwhile, Amy grabs the captain and begs him not to kill Longwy, but he brutally and repeatedly hits her, murdering her on the spot. At this point, Longwy remembers his wife's words and the bracelet she gave him for their family's course, which gives him the strength to overpower the captain who is determined to kill him. They have a brutal fight, and after a back-and-forth exchange of punches, Longwy eventually overpowers the captain and activates another bomb, resulting in a final explosion that leaves Longwy victorious. However, to our surprise, the movie doesn't conclude there. Longwy soon appears surrounded by a group of doctors, including Amy, at Blackrock Labs, and it turns out that all of this was part of the VR test. Amy welcomes him into the company, and Longwy hugs her, relieved she is alive. The movie comes to a close with Longwy visiting his daughter at the hospital, where she finally embraces him and forgives him for what happened.